All right. We are ready to go. I'm going to close my window. All right. I guess we're ready-ish. Not sure what to do today. Oh, I got mute. Twitch finally loaded. There we go. I have a list. Let me turn on this overlay and copy down from it. Slow built. Crafting. I guess manufacturing. And somewhere I have another list of things that include player inventory. This is becoming more important because as we start being able to actually build things, we'll want to actually use the things we built rather than just being able to place anything we want. No, placement UI. Machine placement UI, ghost shapes, smooth, drag, place and drag, automatic rotation. Yep, I accidentally checked off the wrong thing when I was trying to hide that. All right. So. And I still haven't found my Photoshop install, so I still can't replace any of the art. If worse comes to worse, I'll set up the old machine and use it to Photoshop. This could be put under here. I'm thinking I want to actually change it, and machines are 2x2 blocks. I think that'll actually be more interesting to play. And it gives me more room to do machine animation. The other way I'd been thinking about doing that was to significantly change the scale so that a single block was effectively a lot bigger. But then the conveyors all are effectively bigger, and everything's effectively bigger, and I just don't know that that's really the right thing. What else do we have down here? All right, so let's move this all down. This one as well. All right. I don't know. What's a good thing to do? Has to be done someday. Like if I'm going to make machines 2x2 blocks, then do I not want to start working on animated machines until after I do that? Do I want to not start working on the machine placement UI until after I do that? Sorry, we're in 3D. Like my inclination is that until I can do the better placeholder, I'm not really super psyched to expand the manufacturing tree. We dare to drive it, at least. I guess working on the UI is a good idea because I use that all the time when I'm testing stuff, and so having it be more usable would help when I'm testing all the stuff. So I guess as much as that's not super fun, that might be a thing to do. So let me take a look. How could this work? Because we're using the mouse for mouse look. So if I wanted to use it to like pick things, Maybe if you held down a key to pick something. Of course, I really need placeholder art for that, so that I can see what I'm picking from. I guess I could just use a text menu for the picking. Man, not being able to Photoshop is so annoying. Maybe I could still install Photoshop 6. Might be good enough. Let's see if I have that somewhere. Here's the updater, but I don't know where the install is. They used to have a version on their website you could download, but I can't find it anymore. I guess they retired that. Oh, it was CS2, not 6. And yeah, they do seem to have pulled it or hidden it. Oh, help.exe. Nope, no sign of it. Wait, didn't I just boot this? Why can't I open this? Okay. Yes, setup. Oh, that is Photoshop 6. All right. Will it work? Who knows? Whatever. No, all to no change. Okay. How can I? Oh, that is the no change column. Okay. Serial number. Let's just do that while I'm doing this, so I don't have to worry. All right, here we go. I'm going to use this ancient Photoshop 6. Did it even place it on my desktop? Nope. All right. Hopefully I can do some shitty editing now. All right. Is this the one that has limited undo? Or is that an even earlier version? I don't remember where the undo settings are. Yeah. You get 99 undo at most. I have a legit license for the whatever it's installed on my other machine, CS5. I just don't know where the install media is. I don't remember if I downloaded it or if I have a boxed copy. All right, so now I can't use this as my excuse. We'll choose what to do, and watch, I won't even decide to use this at all. Back to this list. So, placement UI. Placement.ui doesn't really require it. Player inventory kind of connects to it though. Sure, let's just whip up a Minecraft style player inventory system just to have something. And it's a useful thing to stream. I guess we want to maybe start a new file. Wow, all of our files start with the letter L. We don't have anything nearly the second half of the alphabet. All right, how is our UI going to work? We need to draw 2D stuff, boxes, rectangles mostly, and sprites. And we need to interact with the mouse and maybe the keyboard. So we're getting SDL stuff in main right here and handling it all in place. So probably all of this code will move to the UI, all the key handling code. And I think we're not doing anything with the mouse. No, we're pointing the mouse. Yeah. So this stuff also will move over. So let's go ahead and look at that. Process SEL mouse. Just ends up calling update view. Okay, so this function will move. Mouse down and mouse up. Will move. Oops. These go into their header. And this goes into here for now. And then these things call this stuff. And all of this logic needs to get moved over. All right. The question is, do I want this file to have to know about SDL? The whole point of using SDL is that it abstracts everything around you. So you don't need to wrap it. You can expose SDL to everything in your code rather than trying to isolate it if you're staying full bore in SDL. But you know, if you wanted to port it to a console or something that there doesn't exist an SDL for, you would end up wanting to wrap SDL. And so in that spirit, that I tend to do this with everything except OpenGL, I am going to go ahead and try to not have SDL in this file, which means it's going to have to pre-parse this stuff. So this is taking xrel, yrel, and it may take more later. And that's coming from emotion xrel. Let's just call it process mouse since it doesn't have SDL in it anymore. Process mouse move. Process mouse move. Dx and dy. Dx, dy. Dx, dy. All right. we'll have to introduce our little button code here. So until I do a macro, we're just going to use -1 is left and +1 is right. So and 0 is in the middle, just as a convenient mnemonic until I can get an enum in. So the mouse down equals STL button. What was it called? Button left? Left button? Underscore. Okay. That looks good. All right. So then this functions we moved in here, call these change block things, and we need to move them all back. And for now, we're going to have to use STL scan code as is. So we're actually going to, do we do anything with mod? No. Actually use it. Yeah, so for now, we're just going to copy this code and let it use STL. Oops, let's key down. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Process key up, process key down. And we have to include STL now. Does OPVG do that automatically? I don't think so. Yeah, let's just privately extern that for now so that we don't have to include STL everywhere. Okay. Now we just have all the stuff that this is dependent on that's in main that we just have to move over, which is totally expected. Just at least this. How much more? Probably some of these variables. Is there anything else up here? Yeah, okay. Rotate block. Is there more up here somewhere? Where's the code to actually add and remove blocks? Did I already move that? I guess I did. Oh, yeah, it's change block. Selected block valid. Well, let's see what actually fails. Oh, quit was still in this one. selected block. Block to create. Selected block valid. Probably all of that. Oh, no. Actually, a bunch of it's over here. So this one wants selected block. Oh, but he also wants it. Okay. They do want both of them. Go ahead and put that. Oh, I see. Right. So yeah, we'll eventually move the rendering out of that depends on this, only that rendering into UI, because that's going to be that's where it's rendering the thing showing you where you're about to build. That's currently box. It's where we'll do the ghost rendering and stuff. What do I want this? OBBG data, globals. We rely on that. Debug renderer, show memory. All right, so hopefully that's all unchanged. Just did a little reorg. Make it a coal. Make it our iron gears, or iron bars rather. Make it our iron gears. Make it our conveyor belts. All right. Scroll back to look at chat that I missed. Yeah, I have the last version of Photoshop from before you start having to pay monthly. All right. Oh, and because I keep mentioning it, I do have it somewhere on my machine now. So let me here, I'll just show real quick this SCB library that I've been talking about. How do I drag this so I don't want into that? Okay, yeah. So this is my new OpenGL framework that's not done yet, that I'm working on. And it makes it so you don't need to use gl.h and you don't need to include windows.h. So to do that, it includes a couple wrappers to make building shaders a little bit easier, but mostly it's just and does all the work of setting up the windows and stuff. But so one thing it does is, you know, creates all the function pointers into the OpenGL stuff, and I just have to add to this list if you want more. And I'll try to. This was inspired by somebody who made a thing called GLFast, which he just included a subset that's like the approaching zero driver overhead set of things. And I'm not doing that. And in fact, I include here the immediate mode and the matrix stuff because I still use that. But my plan is to actually replace immediate mode and the matrix stuff with my own internal implementation so that it'll work even in core. And then because you don't want to include gl.h, it actually defines all the constants, the GL constants here. And you can see this is optimized for vertical space here. It's like you don't ever need to read any of this code, but it needs to be early in the file. So I just go ahead and pack it in this crazy way. And then it doesn't include windows.h because back in the day, including windows.h slowed your compiles down. And so I'm just hardcore, let's go down that path. So it has to include a couple of the structures that it can't avoid using. And then here it just defines all of the stuff from windows.h that it needs to use, which is a lot because it's a big framework. And here's where it declares all the big list of OpenGL functions. Or actually, no, it defines. Earlier it declared them, here it defines them. It's a bunch of stuff where you get to select which version of GL you want, control data it's using, includes message box and output debug string. The intent is that this would become portable someday. All of this stuff needs to be ported to the equivalent stuff in Linux and Mac. And here's your setting up your Windows stuff, creating the context, creating the extended context. You can ask for a debug context or not. It's a keyboard handler that just parses it down into a simpler, like SDL, parses it down to a simpler thing and hands it off to you. Takes the mouse, parses it down to a simpler thing, hands it off to you. The WinProc doesn't use the WM message names because it doesn't have them defined. I'd have to define them myself and then use them since we're avoiding windows.h. Create window stuff. It has the ability to have you render to a back buffer and then blit it to the screen so you can render at a lower resolution and it scales it up. If you, for some reason, want to be doing fat bit rendering and don't want to have to like figure out how to do fat bit rendering correctly, you can render to a lower resolution thing. You can ask for a resizable or not window, ask for full screen, although I don't think I implemented that yet. And then there's a built-in thing where you can specify a keystroke that's used and it becomes a magnifying glass. So wherever you move your cursor, it will automatically show that area zoomed in as a little sub-window. There's a main loop for Windows. Here's the stuff with magnifying. If you're rendering to the main screen, currently I just always overlay the frame time, and I need to make that configurable. And if you are rendering to a render target, if it's been forcing you to render to a render target, it now needs to blit it to the screen, which it does by drawing this quad, because it uses a vertex and pixel shader that automatically, the vertex shader automatically computes the right coordinates, and so it doesn't care about that. And that's to let that shader be as simple as possible, so I don't have to bind a lot of things and hook up a lot of things. You can see what it hooks up right here is a transform. That's this. This is the thing that actually tells it what it needs to do. These are the screen coordinates, and these are the texture coordinates. And then here's the code that draws the magnified thing. And so this is all working. I'm using it in a test app. And here you can see the two shaders it needs to do all this stuff. One just draws solid color, and one is just for blitting, is doing the texture. And then these are some convenience wrappers. And then here's where I started writing the implementation of push matrix, pop matrix, ortho, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so this is, and then there's a copy of EasyFont in here so that you can draw text. And that's currently at 1,500 lines, so it'll probably be 2,000, 2,500 lines by the time I'm done. So just, I mentioned this in passing a couple times, and somebody was talking about the OPPG is not fully handmade. And so I just wanted to show this thing, it goes fully handmade for you. It's like, yes, you're using OpenGL, but you're not using any of the predefined OpenGL stuff. Fortunately, like OpenGL had defined these as being cross-platform constants. I don't know if they always did from the beginning because they were hidden behind an enum, so there was no reason a platform couldn't use different values. But in the practice, it's turned out, and certainly on Windows, this is what it has to be. But I believe it's turned out to be that way universally. So anyway, so it's just kind of an interesting side note, so you folks can see that I wasn't just making it up when I said there was this thing coming eventually. All right, so what we're doing, we were refactoring everything into UI.c. So did I paste the things I had already? I think I did. Yeah. So what am I missing? Nothing. Oh, it worked. Yeah. So I did it. It's getting hot in here. Hang on a second. Close the window because it's kind of noisy. We'll have to see how that shakes out. Let's see. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah. Yeah, it's 60 degrees outside, so it's not like I really want to turn on my AC. All right. Active control set. Right, this is that stuff. And we are still using space to have jump, so I don't want to use space in my UI. These are debugging. So, what do I want to do? I want to have a key that you pop open the UI, the mouse UI. The selection UI, call it. What's a good key for that? Tab is probably a good key for that, but I use tab for the fast forward. Is there another common thing like fast forward? Like games sometimes have the time fast forward. Like I remember that being back in like I don't know, TIE Fighter or some space sims like that. Did they use tab for that? Did they have another key? I guess I use like shift maybe. Do I get shift keys? L shift. That's not great feeling, but it's not the end of the world. All right. Oh, I was already using L control for something. Oh, right. For run or whatever. Oh, shift is supposed to be run, right? Wait, shift is, oh, in Minecraft, shift is slow. Yeah, I probably don't want to use that for this then. Fast forward isn't really going to be a game thing necessarily, I think. So let's just move that. All right, so we'll use tab. And let's move this to P O. Let's make that to O. All right. So so if you hit tab, all right. Wow, that was hard to write. We're done. All right, so now I need to actually refactor that rendering over into here that I said I was going to do. So draw main, you go through, we render the voxel world, we render the objects, we change the rendering mode, we do some more 3D rendering from with the camera set, do UI rendering 3D. Then here we do the 2D rendering. And what is it rendering? I don't even know. What are these lines? What are the two? We're drawing 2D lines. Do we have a crosshair? I guess that's a crosshair. No, it's over 4. That looks like a crosshair. Not sure why it's over 4. Oh, because we set our ortho mode to half res. This is some debug rendering on top. I think that was 0 and. And then we draw our stats on top. Do we want all that on top of the UI? Yeah, we do. But not this. This should be the first thing we draw after we drop out of 3D. Which it is. And so then we do UI rendering 2D. In fact, this could be part of the UI rendering. Where is it? Oh, for draw stats. So let's, when we draw the stats, let's force it back to that screen X over 2 mode, but let's get rid of the screen X over 2 mode here, which is too confusing. All right, so let's do it here. Do UI rendering 2D. Back to UI. What happened to UI? And then let's go to our funcs. And Let's just go ahead and do this dumb way. Wait, why is that trying to implement it? Oh. I think that's what it's called. Let's check that real quick. No. Oops, I'm in the wrong file. Oh, okay, great. All right, so got that. We can do all this stuff. We can do the rendering. It's a lot of work to just be exactly where I was, but it's life. So now we all want to actually do work. So what do we want to do? We created that Boolean. That was something about the UI select. UI select is not a good name. UI screen active. UI select active, right? UI select screen. There'll probably be more than one of these in the long run, so might as well just do this right. That's a little hard to read. Maybe I should make it a toggle instead of you have to hold it down. It's kind of goofy that you have to hold it down. We'll just try it and see how it works. Okay, so then here we say if UI screen equals UI screen select. All right. And we want to do it into the 2D, not the 3D. So what do? We want to draw some boxes. We want to draw, there's an STBGL function for this. Draw rect. It spelled? Oh. All right. Is CY at the bottom or at the top? I forget. I'll assume it's at the bottom, but I bet it'll turn out it's at the top. So why do I not get GI? Oh, GI. Jeez. let's just kill those warnings. So now if I hit tab, we get a gray box at the bottom. Woohoo! All right. So now, let's see, we want the mouse to start being a mouse when that happens. So, where do we process the mouse? Update view. If UI screen does not equal UI screen none, then draw a mouse cursor. All right, so we need a mouse cursor to draw. Oh, wait, this way. Oh, wait, I'm still changing this. Oh, shoot. Jerks. I have to do them separately in this version. Close enough. All right. And then if I turn on the grid, how is this possibly the size I asked for? Oh, I got 32,000s. Because I was asking for inches or something. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I don't want to spend any time on this, so not worrying about it being any good. All right, there we go. Oops, can't flatten that. Data. Sprites. Arrow. Icon arrow. All right. All right, now we need to load that somewhere. main. Okay, that's fine. We can do it here too. We want to just add a generic function, so it's icon arrow equals load sprite data sprites icon arrow.png. Now we gotta implement that. Load sprite, file name, and then do we have a function to do this already? Bitmap to texture array. We only have load to texture array, maybe. Texture loader. Load bitmap to texture array. Load current to texture array. Load current to texture. We do not have load bitmap to texture. How is it? Where's the bitmapping happening here? Oh, STBIR. Yeah, yeah. So what am I looking for? Oh, right. I have to use STB image. Then we want to say clamp to border. And then how do you set the border color? I don't think I'm doing that anywhere here. Border color. Although maybe the default is the right thing. Yeah, garbage. It's not in ES. Brilliant. GL texture border color. All right. Initial value is all zeros. Yay. That's what we want. If we use pre-multiplied alpha, that's what we want. Linear, bitmap, linear. GL, what is it? Enable generate bitmaps? GL generate bitmaps enable. Which one's, one of these is retired in favor of something else. Uh-oh. Alright, whatever. Do I use that anywhere else in this project? Oh, it filled it out for me and I didn't know. It's an X in that project. Don't know if it's in this project. GL text image 2D. Never remembered the parameter order for this. Why is this off center? Sorry. Target GL texture 2D level 0 internal formats GLRGA width height border format RGBA type unassigned byte data. Free the data. Maybe. Return text. I never bound it. GL bond GL bond texture. GL texture 2D text. Generate it. Bind it. Let's do that way. Do that. Do that. Do that. I got arrows undefined. Yeah, it is. Okay, now let's say init UI. Void init UI render void. Arrow. And then what? I have to make lid sprite public. Which has a dependency on gluent. I think I don't want a dependency on gluent publicly, so we'll just make it a uint. I have to publicize that. All right. Now we have an arrow, and we can render it. We do our rendering. GL enable, GL texture, 2D, GL, GL draw, rect TC. Let's just put the mouse at the center of the screen to start with. See mx minus 16, my minus 16, mx plus 16, my plus 16, 0, 0, 1, 1. Then we need to GL bind texture, GL texture, 2D, icon arrow. We need to enable GL blend func. GL1, we want pre-multiplied alpha minus alpha. GL disable, GL blend, GL disable, GL texture 2D. There's no way that works. Okay. It is not alpha blending it. Oh, because I didn't actually pre-multiply it. I don't know if that's why there. Yep, that is why. Okay. Need to actually go in and pre-multiply it. Which is load sprite. Search for, do I have this function in here somewhere? Yep. There it is, blend 8x8. already using this somewhere else. Yep, here's somebody pre-multiplying as well. Multiply alpha pixels with height. And then where was it that was doing it already? Was it here? I probably should have made note of where it was before I moved it out. Let's undo back to find out where it was. Here it is. Right before the icon arrow call. Wait, why is the icon arrow call still in this file? Oh, because that was, I went back way too far. Okay. Okay, so it's right before the init UI render call. Right here. But it's never doing anything with these. That doesn't make any sense. That's too late. Should have been here. Load bitmap to texture array. Check if it does it itself. Load bitmap to texture array. You pass in whether it's pre-multiplied or not. It was passing in that it's pre-multiplied, but it wasn't pre-multiplying, so that was just a bug. That's why the OR looked a little wonky at the edges. I think they had black edges, because I hadn't done that right. All right, so yeah, so that should all be fine now. It's pre-multiplied. Okay, so now we just need to move it. That's pretty easy. Well, we get let's just have a clamp function. It's always a little bit visible there. Although it's actually, it's oversized, so it'll always be a little bit visible. Okay, now we have to decide where we have to decide where on the mouse is the hotspot. Normally you'd like that to be data driven, but we'll just hack it for now. Data. Sprites. Start. Icon arrow. Oh. Open with. Choose default program. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So sorry, here. 1, 2, 3. It's about 6, I'd say. Looks like it's about 5,6. So when we go to render it, mx equals mouse x minus 5, mouse y minus 6. And we want to seed it. Mouse 0 equals 1. I'm sorry, it was true. if first, let's handle multiple screens here. If UI screen does not equal UI screen none, and first mouse. Is that what I called it? First mouse. First mouse is false. So now we run this once, and then we say mouse x equals screen x over 2, mouse y equals screen y over 2. We could probably initialize that some other way, but that's just in case the screen size changes, that's like the beginnings of what you need to do. So we hit tab, and we can move the mouse. And it's moving really slow. It's not doing mouse acceleration. I don't know why, because I'm not using, I think I'm just using regular raw mouse X and Y. So I don't know why that would be scaled down. I'm not using like raw input or anything, I believe. Let's move. Let's move. Maybe SDL is, I guess that's right. I'm using SDL, so it's whatever SDL gives me. And I bet if I look at SDL docs, they won't say a single thing about it. So I'm just going to scale by 2 for now, so it doesn't feel as terrible. But I need to find out what the right thing to do is for that. All right, now I can actually move around the whole screen. Okay. Now I'm going to read back through chat, see if there's anything important. Remember to prefix me my name in the chat if you want me to see stuff. Realized my phone was off. And I told somebody to call me. I'm going to have to break for lunch at some point. And I was just realizing that they can't call me to break for lunch if my phone is off. So let's see if I missed something. Boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum. Right, I guess not. All right, so we got the mouse moving. Oh, there it goes. Let me check this real quick. Alright, there was nothing. Nothing at all. Okay, where was I? I was moving the mouse. Okay, so now I'm moving the mouse, so now I want to have stuff to move the mouse onto. So we need to actually start drawing some stuff. So we want some boxes that we can mouse over. It wants to be kind of immediate GUI-ish, but I don't think I'll write a whole I'm GUI system. In fact, if it's just a grid, I don't even have to really do that. But so we're going to have a bottom row of stuff like Minecraft that is the stuff that you can normally see that you can select with the mouse, with the keyboard. And then have the mouse let you do everything else. I guess it's exactly what Minecraft does. I wasn't even thinking about that. But we can still think of that in the UI code as just a bunch of rows. They just happen to be separated physically. And so we want, if we data drive that, then we can access the data from two different places and it'll work the same, and rather than having to IMGUI it up, which is just a little more complicated to structure, but then makes things easier after the fact. So UI, we'll call them icons. Well, we'll call them squares. So we have a row of squares. They have a Y position, let's give them a Y0 and a Y1. And then they have, well, let's Y base, Y size. Then we have X base, X size, X spacing, and count. So if we want to draw those, draw UI square row, draw row, UI row. Of course, it's a rect row because I have X size and Y size separate. Int I for I equals 0, I less than count. Base, y1 equals y0 plus row, y size, x0 plus row, x base, x1 equals. Well, lots of ways you could write this. This just came to mind. Draw rect. So then voila. So then we want the UI select, which we're going to define as being 4 rows. So this is the inventory. This is Minecraft inventory. Let's call that inventory. just gonna clone what Minecraft has for now, so I don't have to stop and design. I just use their numbering. So void init UI inventory compute. So the thing is, this is going to be dependent on the screen size, and so we want to recompute it every time we change the screen size, and I'm just going to recompute it every time we open up the panel, because why not? So how do we do this? Well, let's see. The bottom row is based on the Y thing. We will want to make it be dependent on the screen size. We'll want to actually scale it with the screen size, but I'm not going to worry about that yet. So, so let's have the first row always be the thing at the bottom, rather than having them necessarily in the same order. It won't matter. So UI row RR. So first of all, RR equals Y inventory of 0. So where do we place this one? Well, it's Y base. It's X size. I don't know how big these should be. Let's just pick a size and see what happens. And then its Y base is screen Y minus Y base. Y size. Its spacing is 4 pixels between them. And then X base, the total size is going to be X size times, what's the count, is 9. So it'll be X size times count plus X spacing times count minus 1. That's the total size it will take up, because there's spacing between them, but you don't count the spacing on the right side. And then to center it, we need to compute half of that. So let's just have float left X for center, which takes float size and computes screen X over 2 minus size over 2. X to center contents of width. All right. Next we got left X to center contents of width of this. And then we have to add RR arrow everywhere here. Like that. Okay, so that gives us our base one. Then we need top Y to center contents of height. Just this. So then we go and we do the next one. Inventory 1. Y spacing equals 4 also, I guess then. So RR arrow Y base equals left Y to top Y to center contents of height. These will be Y size. Okay, so all of them should get the same spacing. So first of all, let's do this. For I equals 0, let's see, 4. I guess that one goes there too. 3 plus y spacing times 2. So this could all be a pan-defined, if we want our inventory to be on a flexible thing, this should all be on a pan-define or something. So now we say, what else do we have to set? We've set everything except base and size, it looks like. X base equals, just copy that, because it hasn't changed. And at this point, we actually don't need these because, well, we do because of that. It's really less clear. It's just short, but it's not clear. So let's. What's in overwrite mode? Excellent. All right, there we go. Do that one first. All right. Commute UI inventory. So when we pop up that screen, UI inventory. We'll do that. And then we already have a draw UI row, draw UI screen. That's what this is now. And so then when we go to draw it, draw UI screen. What did I call that? UI inventory. Sure. That's nowhere. All right, it's drawing something, but it's not drawing the right thing. The spacing is wrong, maybe? Oh, the spacing, I was saying the spacing, but it needs to add. If it's going to use spacing, it needs to do that. So it's advance equals row x size plus row x spacing. I believe the centering computation was doing it correctly, so I don't want to actually change that. And the same is true of the y one here. Oh, and I used float. Inconsistent. Advance equals y size plus y spacing. Y size. All right. And then that has to be advanced. All right, there we go. And they're clearly totally the wrong size. And that doesn't quite look centered. Where's the plus? There's the plus. Oh, it is centered. Okay. All right, so we need them to be a lot bigger. Got 50. Got 50. Spacing be 8. And is that the only places I have to change them? Yeah, because everything else was computed from it. Okay, that's closer to a reasonable size. This panel that I was drawing at the bottom doesn't make sense anymore. UI rect row UI I don't know what you call the bar at the bottom in Minecraft. Action bar. So is this rendering? Here's where we render the icon arrow. We want to render the arrow if UI screen does not equal UI screen none, then we should render the arrow, and that should be last because the arrow should draw on top of the UI. So let's fix that. And then if UI screen, so let's just make this a switch. UI screen, case, UI screen, select, colon. But this was not last. This was the part that was drawing the overlay at the bottom. So we'll put that up in here. And then there's a bunch of stuff about saying the states here. We need to, we don't need blend, we don't need texture 2D. Okay. Yet. But by the time we do the icons, we will. Right, okay, this was that. Break, use UI screen, none. Let us still draw UI screen, UI action bar, 1. But we haven't computed the action bar, so we have to actually do that work. So we need to share that, but it needs to be computed based on the actual screen size, so we'll just leave it alone for now. X spacing 8. Okay. We got to call this somewhere. We can just call this once a frame. So it'll auto resize when you change things. And then we draw it. Okay. Okay, so now we have our slots. And then when we do this, that draws, and it's drawing there. So let's move it up. Where was that rendering doing? It's down here. It's this right here. So let's draw that one also. Screen Y times 3.0 over 4.0, just to start. Just be a centered blob. Okay, there we go. So we can select things or do inventory things. Since I turned it in, it was going to be a selection screen, and now it's an inventory screen. Whatever. You need to do both. I can start having this be a selection screen where, right, currently I have keybinds that let me choose what things I'll be placing in the world, but they're all hard-coded in the code. So now this can be, here's the list of all the things you can do, and you bind them into these slots temporarily. Or drag and drop them, I guess. Let's see what people are talking about in chat. I think they're not talking about this. They're talking about something else. Oh, people, of course, are using IMGUI not to refer to IMGUI, but to refer to a specific program that's ImGUI, which has been renamed to Dear ImGUI to avoid that confusion. I was just talking about ImGUI, the abstract. Lots of people rewrite ImGUI stuff from scratch. That's not uncommon. Okay, so now we've got that stuff. Now we want to have some icons to draw in the things to select from. So let's go look at our block type list and see what things we need. Here they are. I'm going to copy this into another window so that Photoshop, so that I can have it up while I have Photoshop up. All right, so got that. Let me drag this somewhere that I can see it. Don't need that anymore. All right. Make that exposed. It won't be exposed while Photoshop's up, but whatever. Okay, so yes, let's make those 32 pixels, not 32 inches. Let's start with a transparent background. Woohoo! All right, so what do we need? Conveyor belt. So oh, right. I wonder this didn't make any sense. It's set to RGB sliders. There we go. HSB sliders. Much better. And then some kind of gray. And then yellow. There you go. There's a terrible rendition of the conveyor belt. What's the actual one look like? Oops. Oh, it's got the blue border, and that's a darker. Why is this snapping weird? Is that set to a different mode by default? Then this I want to HSB it. Image. Just that. And then for this. A little stripe along the side. There we go. We'll have to do. I guess as a copy works. So this is icon conveyor. And then we want 90-degree turn. And I need my yellow back, which didn't get saved. Why is this? Oh, there's like snapping turned on. That's why this is flaking out on me. Where the edit? Where's snapping in this version? View, right. No snapping. No wonder. That's a nightmare. All right. And that is icon conveyor 90 clockwise. And I'll go ahead and make one in the opposite direction. I'm not sure if that's needed or not. Or if that should be kind of implicit function. Whoops, I don't want to erase, I want this. Also this thing, oh, it is point simple, all right. All right, close enough. That is icon conveyor counterclockwise. All right. Now what? I need to be able to place or. Won't need to in the real game, but for now, I need to be able to place or. Let me just see if there's anything else conveyor shaped. Oh yeah, the ramps. I guess this angle is probably the best for that. So let's see. We'll draw it as a full ramp, even though it's only a half ramp, because that'll make my life easier. So this slopes up to there. This slopes down to there. And this gets erased. And this gets drawn in on that side. And this gets drawn in on this side. Arrow and up. And arrow going up. And they weren't the same size. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but we'll do that. All right. Seems reasonable. Icon conveyor. Now we need down. There we go. Oops. All right. All right, so I think that's all the conveyors. 90 left, 90 right, ramp up, ramp down. Splitter, I can make an icon for the splitter. We don't know what it's going to look like. I don't have actual art for it currently. Why is it showing? I don't have the grid on. Why is it showing that it's grid lines? Thought I had grids turned off. All right. So the splitter. The splitter is open on these sides. Has its arrow back at the beginning. And then has some kind of barrier, which will give a darker color on this side. And a lighter color on this side, which is the opposite of what I did down here. That's sad. And we'll give it a little roof, even though it doesn't necessarily need one. I don't know what the shape it's going to look like in the end. There you go. There's the splitter. So should I go ahead and finish up doing all of these, or should I try to finish up drawing all these, or should I try to get this code working and then come back to doing the rest of these? Because I still have to do all the different machines. It's the next step. I need to do the picker, the drill, get code workings. All right, I'll take the first vote there. I realize this is pretty boring, but it has to be done. You can't get far through the code without, even once I get this code working, I'm going to want to come back to that. But all right, so now what we want is we need an action bar data structure. UI. We want something that represents what's in our action bar. So let's store that into action bar block type. And if we turn this into a real inventory, they need to have counts and other stuff, but we can refactor all that. So there's no need to get it correct. And let's seed it with stuff to do. So there'll be block types, conveyor 90 left, conveyor 90 right, BT ramp up low, BT ramp down high, BT splitter, BT picker, BT or drill. Oh, right, we need those also. BT stone and BT asphalt. That's only 8, so there'll be an empty slot. Now we need to render those, so we need to load the sprites. So where do we load our sprites? Unit, init here. Okay. Int sprite for block type. So that's 256 block types, so there we go. Sprite for block type of BT. Let's bring this list back down here. Conveyor equals load sprite data sprites conveyor.png. And this should be data driven, but we'll come back to making it data driven in the future. 90 left, 90 right. Ramp up low, ramp down high, splitter. That's as far as we got in terms of the sprites. I shouldn't bother cleaning this up since I'm going to refactor it anyway. And then the names are conveyor 90 counterclockwise, 90 clockwise, up, down, splitter, hopefully. All right. Then we go to render our stuff. We do have to undo this. We want draw row. There was a reason I was doing it row. Draw UI row, which is just this part. Like that. All right. So now disable GL texture 2D, GL disable, GL blend. This is not a very efficient way to render this, but we don't care. Then we're gonna GL enable, GL enable, GL bind texture, GL texture 2D, sprite. I don't think I want to pass in the sprites. I want to actually pass in the block codes. And then sprite equals get sprite block codes I if sprite is not 0. StudioGL draw rect PC 010x1y10011. Let's draw UI row numbers. This wasn't supposed to get moved. And this is why you can't have this work. So now we have to copy this code out to draw UI screen. This wasn't supposed to be num rows. This is now just that. Now I see how this should work. Okay. Draw UI row, action bar, and then what did we call that data structure we just made? Is it just called action bar? Action bar block type. Action bar block type. And then what this one actually wants to do is just draw that separately. And the UI inventory screen should only be 3 tall. So while I'm in the middle of refactoring, I'm going to make this change because I'm crazy. So this one no longer needs to compute what is computing for 0. But it does need this X base. That one's gone. This only goes up to 3. This is 0 to 3. What a terrible way to write that code. All right. So I think that's better. And then we need to make this handle block codes. This is just temporary, that we don't have inventory, so we just temporarily do that. The interesting part is going to be the drag and drop. That's what you're all dying for, I'm sure. We will get there very soon. This doesn't take num rows anymore. Let's compile and see what I've forgotten. I'm not sure I'm done anyway, but oh, I have to write get sprite for block it. So for now, I'll just do this. Switch block. Just do it as case statements and put it into a table later because it's a weird sparse table and etc. Like I have a system for how I like to do those, and I haven't been doing it right now. Oh wait, we already have sprite for block type. Okay, never mind. I did it the right way already. Just immediately forgot. It was 5 minutes ago, and I immediately forgot. Where is it being drawn? Okay, here it is. Sprite for block type. Okay, now what? Sprite for block type. An array. Can I say what I'm working on right now? Let me give me a minute till the point I get runnable, and then I can show you. This is dead function because we moved it out. Ramp up low is not what it's called. What's it called? Conveyor ramp up low. Okay, yeah. pi BT splitter. Yeah. It's just a BT splitter. All right. Does it work? No. Pre-multiply alpha. We didn't load a sprite. It was null. Conveyor. Icon conveyor. These are all icon underscores. That is in main. It's got to be another one that didn't load. Is it just called splitter? Icon splitter. Okay. Okay, there we go. Wow, that splitter is unreadable because of the way the arrow faces the other thing. So what I'm currently working on is I'm taking this system here that lets me place blocks by pressing keys on the keyboard, and different keys mean different things. And going to change it so that they're shown as icons at the bottom so you know what they are. Put a highlight around the one that you currently have selected with the keyboard, and then you press tab and you bring up this screen, which these are positioned wrong. That will have the full palette of all the things you can choose from, and then you drag and drop those down onto here. So it's like Minecraft. That is what I'm working on. Okay, so I want to fix the positioning, because I did hack on that in the middle of this, the positioning of the inventory screens here. That's why I didn't remember these. 1, 2, 0, 1. Okay, so that should fix that. All right. So then those need block type arrays. And what we'll do is inventory block type. So we'll seed those, and then the action bar. Action bar block type. We're going to start with just conveyors, so that we'll be able to get the drag and drop working. Because if I wanted to leave the action bar filled out, there wouldn't be much point to the drag and drop. So this is going to start with the full list. Here's the ores. Three, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Conveyors be their own list. Oh, so I don't need to actually pad that out. I have the machines be their own list. To start with, BT ore drill, BT furnace, BT iron gear maker, BT conveyor belt maker. All right, that gives us a starting point. Now we need to hook that up. UI inventory block type. Where do we draw that? There's a switch statement somewhere where we draw that. It's above this? No. Oh wait, it's down here. Yep. No, this is inventory block type J. Of 0, just to be consistent. Comma. Ference. Keep misspelling that. Inventory block type is not what I called it. I called it UI inventory block type. All right. See if that works. There they go. Okay, so drag and drop is next. Let's go ahead and check this in. We do want to add all those sprites. Contract UI. Okay. All right, here we go. Drag and drop. Do we process the mouse buttons anywhere currently? I don't know if we do. Mouse up, mouse down. Where's the mouse down gone? Did I split it? Yeah. Ah, yes, we do, because that's how we place blocks, is with mouse down. All right, so the mouse goes down if UI screen does not equal UI screen none, then it has a totally different meaning. So, all right, and that was why I did want them to just be a flat set of rows, because then I could use XY coordinates if they were a flat set of rows. All right, so where's mouse X? Let's put this up earlier. Draw UI row. Okay, so void hit detect row. We'll return to which slot is hit. And we actually want a bounding box here. Do I have a box type? A rect, an integer rect? Doesn't look like I do. Do I want size or min-max? Actually, I just want all of this code. Which is exactly why you do IMGUI, so that you don't have this much cut and paste of code, but whatever. And then this will end with that. Okay, so now, if mouse X plus box X0, Now, how do you do this? Is less than x1 and mouse x plus box x1 is greater than x0 and xy return I. Hit I. Otherwise, return -1. All right. Now, hit item. Let's highlight the hit item if there is one. And we'll do that by if hit item. Draw a little white outline around it. And we'll draw the white outline the lazy way by just drawing the whole box bigger, and then let the next one overdraw it. Height item equals I, that's what I meant. Okay, so now we gotta fix the calls to draw. Oh wait, this is rect row. That's not an assignment. Checking chat real quick. Somebody asked if people have opinions about which version of VC6 is Visual Studio is the least bad, but he was asking chat. Obviously, my opinion is VC6. But not if you're doing C++, probably. Only works for C. Boy, yeah. Didn't quite want to replace all of the X's. We only want to replace some of them. Okay, so now we have to draw a UI row and pass in the selected one, and none of them are selected. So now we need a tick for doing UI processing, but we can do it inside the render. There's probably no harm in doing it inside render. So hit UI row. What was it called? Hit detect row. Hit detect row of UI inventory J. What is it that we pass in? Oh, the box. So this is just for, well, all we care about is where the mouse is, so we can use the null case. Int hit equals that, and then we'll highlight the one that got hit. Maybe? Okay, it's wrong because it's supposed to be the top left of the box, but it seems to be the bottom right of it. Oh, right. I said this, I did this offsetting to try to do that. But it was 6 out of 16. So if I double this size, this has to be double 2. I need a more systematic way of handling this. I need like a draw sprite function that does the right thing here. So not quite right. Not quite right, but close enough. Close enough for now. We'd like to know why that's off by as much as it is. Maybe I don't multiply these by 2? Where did my things stick? Maybe my things were 32 by 32 and I've forgotten. Were they 32 by 32 or were they 16 by 16? Nope, still not quite right. I mean, I eyeballed the 5 and 6 anyway, but all right. Anyway, that's good enough to see the system working. All right, so let's darken this stuff all a bit. Draw row. Where'd draw row go? There it is. Make sure that doesn't ruin the contrast. You know, it kind of does ruin the contrast, actually. All right, they have to stay bright. It just was the fact that the highlight wasn't very bright, very much brighter than the thing around it. Maybe I can just darken the background, which will allow the highlight to be visible. Where is that? Where do I draw? That's here. Maybe if I just darken this one. It's good enough. All right, so now I'm highlighting. So now when I click, mouse down, I can, where's the render? I gotta copy the render code because since I'm not ImGUIing, I end up with multiple copies of all these. Switch UI screen, this UI screen, inventory, or it's called select. Is it called select or inventory? Select still. This is the case for UI none. It's in my paste buffer. Ah, good. That was still in my paste buffer. So go down that. Let's see if we hit anything. We don't do any drawing, but we do want to hit detect this one. Actually, we don't. We'll do a slightly odd thing. We won't let you drag out. We won't let you drag away from the bottom bar. We'll just only let you drag things to it, just to see how it feels. So if you hit it's greater than or equal 0, start dragging is true. And then we need the offset of the mouse from the thing, which we don't know the coordinates of the thing. Get coordinates of UI inventory of J, comma hit, and they get stored in XY. These are all floats because I can't make up my mind whether they're floats or ints. So then that would compute x0 plus x advanced times item. So row x base plus row x size plus row x spacing times item. So that's our x coordinate, and our y coordinate is just y base. Okay, so at this point we know where the mouse is, we know where the object it's dragging is, so we can say mouse drag offset x equals, it's what we want to add to the mouse coordinates. So it's x minus mouse x. dragging equals false. Mouse drag set x set y. Point type would simplify that a little bit. This is dragging, not start dragging. Okay. And drag item equals. Should I use a sprite or should I use the block type? I guess for now we'll use the block type. Block inventory block type J of hit and drag item. Anybody not following what I'm doing in a way that I should be explaining? Now, do we want drag and release, or do we want you to click, drag, click? I don't know how Minecraft does it. We're going to do drag and release. So we got that. Then mouse up. If dragging. We're not even looking at what the button is on the mouse up. I should probably fix that. If dragging, then get coordinates. Oh, we have to check if hit detect row UI action bar. So we only allow you to drag onto the action bar. We're not. This is not like full inventory swapping kind of stuff. And we're hit detecting that you're dragging the object on. So I rect I shape dot x0 equals mouse drag offset x shape dot y0 equals mouse drag offset y shape dot x1 equals shape dot x0 plus 32 shape dot y1 equals shape dot 0 plus 32. So this is going to have a bug, which we'll see when you're, because you can overlap multiple shapes and it's not going to handle that correctly. So as a bit of a hack, I'm just going to contract it by a little bit and we'll fix it correctly later. This should be plus. So we make the shape a little smaller and then we hit detect shape. And then if hit is greater than 0, UI action bar of hit is drag item and dragging is false. And if you have a mouse down while you're dragging, dragging becomes false. So you can cancel drag by clicking the other button before releasing. And if you drop anywhere other than the action bar, it does nothing. Seems reasonable. I'm sure I forgot some. There's some step somewhere here I forgot to do. I don't remember what it is. I remembered having something else I wanted to do. Type int star. What? Star legal. Right operand has type int star. No, it doesn't. It's an int. Oh. I didn't declare hit. Was that the only thing I knew I had forgotten something, but was that the thing I was forgetting? What was there? Incorrect levels of indirection. Oh, did I make action bar actually be an array of 1? Yeah, I did. Okay. Oh, yeah, not UI action bar. Action bar. Block type. Okay, I can't drag anything, or not visually. Aha! I forgot to add rendering on it. Need to render the ghost. Okay, so UI rendering 2D, somewhere we draw the mouse. Okay, under the mouse. If dragging, then we actually want all this. If dragging, line type, and let's drag a phantom white thing if we don't have a sprite. That's fine. GL line texture. What was it called? Sprite for block type. Block type of drag item. Then let's do this. Mouse X plus drag offset. What was it called? Mouse drag offset. Voila. Okay, it's drawing the wrong size. Is it not 32? What did I draw them as? 50. Oh, it comes out of the, yeah. We can get it out of that. UI inventory 0 size. UI inventory size. So we can actually have the action bar be a different size if we wanted. So grab that. Now we don't get any feedback that where we're going to drop the, so I need to add that. There we go. All right. So we go where we draw the row, which is right here, and then we say if dragging int hit equals hit detect row UI action bar of 0. Oh, it's not null. I need the same box. Where's the box that I do that with? Again, this is why you do IMGUI, because you was that one that I here, this one. Wait, I don't want the same hack. I want to use the exact same hit detect code. And then where was this? Is this spot right here? If dragging, and this is drawing it. This one, right? Okay. Right, I could have just cut and pasted all of that code, in fact. And in a well-structured UI, you wouldn't actually compute this stuff multiple times. You'd compute your hit thing once and reuse it. But you would still have a lot of this other code replicated. Okay, so then if it's hits, what do we want to do? Oh, we wanted to try to hide it, which is done automatically for us if we just pass in hit. So we just do this right before. And that should show us where we're going to drop it. Action area is not correct. Action bar. Okay, so now I should be able to pick this up, drag it, and then it should highlight, although you can't see the highlight. Or it's not working. I think it's not working. I think it's incorrect. I think you'd be able to see it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to see it. Let's see if it's ever hit. Nope. Never hit. I guess I should break and find out why. It's probably the fastest way to detect that. If I can. Oh, I can't Alt-Tab. Because this is the tab key. I can't tab into the debugger. What happens if I am dragging and I let go of tab? If I'm dragging, I let go of tab, that triggers. Great. That's not a useful time for it to trigger. Oh, because this is in screen none. That's not where I wanted this. That's why this is never working. I want it right here. So maybe that's something different just for clarity. All right. But I should do a thing where when you clear the screen, where do we clear the screen? It's key up. Where's key up? Process key up. Oh, wait, in Minecraft, after you let go of it, you can then throw it. That's probably worth preserving. It's kind of an interesting thing. Don't know what happened to my whole lunch thing. All right. So now we tab, we grab a thing. Oops, I left the assert in. But it shouldn't have asserted then. It shouldn't have hit it then. It should only detect when I drag it down further. It's kind of interesting. Wonder what that's going on. Oh, it only hides now, so I'm not sure what why that assert was firing. But so if I let go here, nothing happens. These are not very distinct, but this is tolerable, the overlap case here. So then we replace that, do that, do that. So there you go, drag and drop working. You can't drag and drop up here, it just ignores it. It's still highlighting, which is wrong. Why is it doing that highlighting? It's, oh, because it's dragging, right? So the select screen, I hit equals dragging, question mark, -1, : So if you're dragging, you're not allowed to hit detect up there. Boom, it doesn't highlight at all now. And now it highlights down here. There we go. Drag and drop from select screen onto action bar. All right. Now I just need to actually switch it so that the key stuff looks in action bar, and I think that'll just work. Looking at scroll back here. Yeah, because I don't use C++, I never use ampersand to mean references, so it's a little easier to keep track of what's going on. Okay, so so new people, I should show you the basic factorial part of this real quick. So we have this factory thing, building stuff, and here's like the more complicated one. Remember, all of this is placeholder art. So these things are digging coal out of these asphalt blocks, and these things are digging iron ore out of these marble blocks. And then these come along, and this thing is a furnace, and it grabs an iron ore, and it grabs, oh, right here, it grabs a coal from here. It should just grab a coal from this side, really. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh no, it's on the wrong side. That's why I can't. And it outputs an iron bar here, placeholder art. Then we come along and the iron bar gets picked up by this guy, who grabs an iron bar and a coal and combines them to create an iron gear here, which is a different color, as you can see. And then this thing picks up 2 iron gears and 1 iron bar and builds a conveyor belt. That's what the purple thing is. The purple is a conveyor belt. Again, all placeholder art. And then this was just a test of a lot of the functionality of the conveyor belts. You can see this is like Factorio. They don't fall off the end like they do in Infinifactory. They just stop at the end. And voila. This belt is a splitter, which is this thing here. It just doesn't have the actual art for it in game. So you don't see them actually like route around because they're not animated that way, and they don't have the art either. So that's the current status of this thing. And now, right, now I just need to use that for the keys. So where the keys currently do this, block base, they now need to say block choice equals k minus 1. This applies for if k is greater than 1 and k is less than or equal to 9. Then block choice is k minus 1. And then block base is here. Let me switch that to be int block choice 0, and we say int block. Well, we don't actually do anything else. We just need to use action bar block type. Let's move that up here. And then where do we place them? Mouse down. It's right here. Selected block valid, button equals 1. Selected block, BT empty. Button equals -1, block base. There's where it gets used. So we'll say block equals action bar of block type of block choice if block does not equal BT empty. Then use block. All right, now in theory, that should use the stuff at the bottom for the keys. So let's try it. Let's press 1, and we do that. Now let's press 3, and nothing happens. Now we press tab, we drag the arrow here, and we don't press anything. Yep, and it does it. Okay, so now I just want to highlight which one is currently selected. So that's where we draw the action bar. So draw action bar, hit draw action bar -1. Draw. So this, we want to add a void draw action bar UI rect row block codes hit item. But we don't need hit item. Oh, we do need hit item. Right. Okay. So that was just doing that. So we don't actually need to pass in these. That was the point. Draw action bar just needs that. Okay. Draw action bar. Right. Okay. So now we want to pass in another thing, which is block choice. This needs to take another thing, choice, and we need to highlight a choice, which will do if choice equals I. And then all the things that are currently calling it with only 3 parameters. Oh, look at that. Let's just move it down here. All right. Function. Oh, wait. So these. No, wait, not this one. This one's the one that should be right. Different types for formal parameter. Item. That takes a negative one. All right. All right, so now you can see which one I've got selected. I guess I could just draw it over top. But then this means when I drag, it still highlights, and you can see both colors on it. Those look exactly the same to me. Yep, okay. So now, let's see if we can place these. Dun, dun, dun. Dun. Oops. Voila. You can see this gets cut off right there. It doesn't extend through. And then this, I don't have the ability to place the corresponding ones because this is going to be the next thing to do is to make it when you place one of these, it's placing both of them. And do the ghost blocks and stuff while you're placing them. So once you've selected this and you're about to place, you actually see it in the world, etc. That's the next step. So what did I just do? The keyboard stuff. All right. Is that IK on the grabbers? No, it's a simulated IK. It's just manually scripts the entire motion of the thing. It will be able to pick from different places on it, but which will use a sort of IK system to do it. I mean, I guess maybe, I don't remember how the picker animation actually works now. It's been a while. It might actually be computing the midpoint using, I mean, the whole thing about I think I didn't do that work though. But the whole thing about 2-link IK is it's a closed form thing. You can just solve it. And And somewhere I have that solver. In fact, I should just make an STB library out of it. Ken Perlin has it written up somewhere, and I always just go to his write-up of it. But I think for this one, I just eyeballed it to be vaguely correct and didn't worry about it. I don't remember if that's actually true or not. Like, maybe I actually did it right. I don't think so. Oh, it's in logistics, I think. Or does it? Is it? It's in setting the bone values. So wherever that gets done, which I guess is in logistics. The logistics render function here. Add draw picker. Bone state. So yeah, you can see this is like the entirety of it. It's super cheap. It's totally faked. Oh no, here's where it does some like stuff to normalize things to look legit. This is the old version. So it's doing a little bit. It's doing 2 square roots to try to keep it looking correct, but it's a little hacky. So a sort of fake IK. Since part of the goal here is to like have 10,000 of these running or something, or however many you can render, 1,000 of them, to not spend the time on IKing the bones correctly, because you can't tell. So yes, and so that answers the question that is code, not animation. But it would be straightforward to hook up the 2-link IK system and be running quote-unquote real IK, because it's still closed form, so it's still just probably a bunch of square roots. It's just that's a nice cheat about 2-link IK, that it's not like the complicated IK solvers. And there's my phone. So this is probably my lunch. Is it? Yep. Yep, sure. Where is here? Where exactly? Yep, okay, I'll be out in 2 minutes. All right, see you. All right, that's my lunch date. So I'll be back, I don't know, hour and a half maybe, depends how long lunch goes, and start up another stream to continue on. But this is a reasonable place to stop anyway. So see you in a bit if you decide to show up. And I'll re-announce on Twitter when I start. All right, so see you.